Hi y'all, it's Annelies, and WWDC, also known as the Worldwide Developers Conference, started this week. It kicked off with the keynote where Apple essentially said, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff to get freaking excited about that you don't get for like another 3 to 4 months. And the things that they announced are iOS 15, iPadOS 15, watchOS 8, and macOS Monterey, with a few other things like sprinkled in between. And I actually already made a recap video of all the things that I'm really excited about coming to iOS 15. So if you are interested in that, will be the first link in the description down below. But this video is going to be my recap on all the things that I am the most excited about when it comes to the other stuff, the iPadOS 15, watchOS 8, and macOS Monterey. So if you haven't watched the event yet, I would definitely recommend it, because with this whole like movie keynote event things that Apple is doing lately because of the whole pandemic, they look really cool. I like watching them. They get a little bit more in the weeds because this is the Worldwide Developers Conference and they talk more about developing things. But if you don't really care about that and you just want to know what I'm excited about and what you should also be excited about, go ahead and keep on watching. And also, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. If you like tech things, videos like these, I guarantee you'll love being subscribed. But let's go ahead and get into it. So let's go ahead and dive into these updates that I'm excited about coming this fall, or I don't know if they even said fall. I think it says fall on their website. We all know it's fall. Apple doesn't have to say it. We know the iPhone comes out in the fall, and that's when we're going to get iOS 15. We really don't have to pretend anymore. But before I get into the iPadOS, watchOS, macOS, I did want to talk about updates coming to the AirPods. There is this new feature that seems like it's only going to be on the AirPods Pro because of the whole like active noise cancellation software or hardware or whatever that's in the AirPods. But there's going to be a new feature called Conversation Boost for AirPods Pro, where pretty much you can turn on this feature to where it then emphasizes audio that is coming into the headphones from the outside world, because that's how they make the active noise cancellation work, is it takes the mic, there's a whole bunch of microphones on the AirPods and it takes that in and then cancels the sound and whatever. But with Conversation Boost, what that's going to do is it kind of creates some sort of hearing aid device, but using your AirPods. I think this is going to be really cool, especially for folks who maybe do have hearing difficulties and they're in loud, busy places, especially older folks. I'm interested to see how it works out. And my mom has a pair of AirPods Pro, so as soon as this feature comes out, I'm going to try it and see how it works, because I feel like it might be weird, but it's also just really cool how you're making your devices like have more features than what you would think that they would have. I don't know, that was an interesting feature. But let's get into iPadOS, because I am so freaking... Okay, listen. Annelies, calm down. Okay, so obviously last year we got iPadOS 14, which was like the biggest overhaul of the iOS, if you will, system that we've had since iOS 7, in my opinion. And the biggest thing that we got was widgets. But for some reason, we only got those on the phones and not on this beautiful real estate of an iPad. I don't get that. You can get it in your like today view thingamajig, but then you go to the main home screen and you don't have a widget. And there's so much real estate that is being wasted on not having widgets. Why was that not there from the jump, Apple? I do not understand. Same thing with the app library and like hiding app homepages. I don't get it, but the thing I'm very excited about is that with iPadOS 15, we are going to be getting widgets as well as the app library on the iPad. I'm very excited for that. Ever since using the app library, I now understand the joy of no longer having a boatload of folders on my device, and I want that to be on my iPad because I don't need an entertainment folder. I can just search for the Netflix app if I really want to watch it on here. I'm just really excited about this. And once again, I mean, we also still don't have like a calculator app or a weather app, so like Apple likes to leave the iPad in the dust with some things like that for some reason. I don't know what it is. Also, give us Final Cut Pro, you cowards. Yeah, I know. You made the iPad Pro with the M1 chip, and then that would be the perfect opportunity for Final Cut Pro to be able to go on the iPad. But for some reason, that wasn't announced at WWDC. So frankly, I'm upset. Craig, I'm coming for you. I'm not coming for you. I will send you a nicely worded email asking you why there's no Final Cut Pro on the freaking iPad. There's a lot of, I love the iPad. I love the iPad, and I'm excited for the updates that are coming to make it more of a cohesive experience, I guess. Apple is trying to make the iPad more like a computer, but then doing dumb things that separate them in annoying ways, like not having keyboard commands or not having Final Cut Pro, even though you're coming out with an iPad that has the same chip as your computers that can run Final Cut Pro. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm not annoyed. So there's that. Okay, they could have announced nothing except this feature, and I would have been pleased. They are now doing, I think they're calling it like a multitasking dock or a multitasking drawer or something, but pretty much they're improving the multitasking experience on the iPad, because I don't know about y'all, if you have an iPad that supports multitasking, every single time I try to do it, I have to Google it because I cannot get it to work. I don't know if I'm just like, it's something that won't retain in my brain on how I literally, if somebody was like, hey, how do you do multitasking right now? I would just start like swiping around until something maybe accidentally happened, and then I still wouldn't be able to get it to work, and then I would Google it, and then by that point, the moment's gone, and I just want it to be simpler. So now they're gonna have this like little button, I guess, at the top of your window, which I wonder how much room that's gonna take. Can you make it hidden? I don't know, but anyway, it's a little button that then essentially goes, hey, you want to multitask? Let's make it easy for you. So I'm very excited about that. Multitasking is great on the iPad, but it's stupid how hard it is. And maybe that's just me being dumb, but I think it's hard. Okay, now, of course, WWDC is the Worldwide Developers Conference, so they do talk about developer-y things, and something that I don't really share a lot online is that one of my like biggest dreams is to make an app. I would love to make an app, and I would love to know how to code. Something that's exciting for all the coders out there is that soon with iPadOS 15, you will be able to code an iPad on your app and then submit it. You'll be able to code an app on your iPad and then submit it directly to the App Store from your iPad. So no computer needed if you're making apps on your iPad. I don't know how the whole workflow or pipeline to making an app works, but without knowing how the whole workflow goes, I know that it is a very exciting update to say that if somebody has an iPad, they can make an app and submit it to the App Store and not have to do anything else. And that is just kind of a conversation about like accessibility and saying that an iPad, obviously if you go into the iPad Pro range, they get more expensive, but an iPad Pro is still going to be cheaper than a MacBook Pro. And this old iPad Pro, I could still do that with. You can buy a used iPad, you can get an iPad that maybe doesn't have as high as a processor like the Pro or whatever, but still, the fact that you can do all that stuff on an iPad, once again, these are the things that Apple is making the iPad bridge the gap to the world of computer. There's still a little bit of separation, but I don't know. I just think that was a thing that I heard that I was like, wow, I'm excited about that. Maybe one day I'll submit an app to the App Store for my iPad. Maybe I won't, but I look forward to the developers who do. Oh, it was, to clarify, it's within Swift Playgrounds. So Swift Playgrounds, you need to be able to code within Swift, but still, I don't know exactly what that means when it comes to all the other things, but the fact that you can make an app within Swift Playgrounds and then submit it to the App Store is pretty dang cool. So that does it for all the iPadOS updates. When it comes to watchOS, there's only like a few that I'm really excited about, and one of them is being the mindfulness app. So if you have an Apple Watch, you are probably familiar with the breathe notification, where it pretty much goes, hey, take a breath, dude. It'll release your stress. And then you just go, I know I'm stressed. You don't need to tell me I'm stressed. Stop telling me I'm stressed. So like, it's a fun app. We love it. I actually have used the Breathe app and I really enjoy it. So now there's going to be a new app on the Apple Watch called Reflect, where it seems like it gives you a prompt of something to think about. So I think the one they used in the keynote was like, what is something that you're grateful for? And then it gives you a little bit of a timer to sit there and like, think about what you're grateful for. And they talked about the importance of like mental health and taking moments to kind of reflect on your life about like one of your favorite memories or things that you're grateful for, or who are people that you're proud of, or like things like that it could really have a positive impact on your mental health, which then affects your overall health. So I thought that was a really cool like highlight that they made in the keynote, but that they're also focusing on when it comes to like, I don't know, it's like another aspect of health of like, this is not just a fitness monitor, this is also like a wellness monitor. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm very interested to try it, see if it gives you the same type of notifications that the Breathe app does, or if you can set them to a schedule. I don't know, very interested to see how that's going to come, but I think it's really cool. Now, while I'm on the topic of health things, and this kind of goes beyond just watchOS, that's pretty much it for watchOS for me. There was nothing else that really like sparked my interest except the Reflect app. But something else that's coming with the health app is one, the walking steadiness monitor metric, checking your walking steadiness, and secondly, sharing health data between people in your family. Let's start with walking steadiness. So what it seems to be is that walking steadiness can be measured by your phone, and I would assume also your watch, because that only makes sense. But what your phone is going to be doing is monitoring how steady your walk is, your gait, how often your feet are both on the ground, how long long your strides are, how much time there is in between them, to be able to give you a good sense on if you're steady while you're walking or not. And if you are not and you start to get less steady, you will get a notification on your devices saying, hey, you are walking less steady and therefore you are more likely to trip and fall in the future. And that is something that is so, it's like, that is the future to me. Like, that is so futuristic to me, that essentially your phone and your watch are predicting the future of like your health. It's really wild. And they talked about how they did a lot of these research studies through the Apple Research app, which is something that I'm a part of, and I highly recommend if you are an iPhone or Apple user of sorts. On here, I do different research studies where I do hearing tests, or it tracks my data and puts that into their systems and then whatever. And they talked about how in order to monitor this walking steadiness thing, they had like over 100,000 participants in their study. And I'll have to look back, but I'm pretty sure I was a part of that study, which is kind of cool that potentially I helped make this new feature. And I'm really excited about it for obviously like myself and monitoring my own health, but particularly for my mom. I don't think this is rude to say, my mother is aging. We are all aging, but my mother is older, and it is really nice to know that her phone and her watch are looking out for her, being able to give her notifications on, hey, your walking is not as steady, and also here are some exercises that we suggest on how to regain your strength or build your strength in order to have a steadier walk to prevent falling, because when you fall when you're an older person can cause more damage. Falls get a little bit scarier as you get older. And when it comes to talking about my mom and health, the other thing I'm really excited about coming to the health app, and this is across kind of everything, so it's watch, it's phone, it's iPad, it's all the stuff, but you can now share, well, not now, in the future, you'll be able to share your health data with people within your family on like your family sharing, you know, with iCloud, which is something that I am really so excited for, and it made me super emotional watching the keynote. I was like sobbing watching the keynote. The reason why I'm really excited about it is because that walking steadiness thing where it said it would be giving notifications if your walking was changing, if you're sharing your health data with your family, so if my mom and I were sharing our health data, I would then get a notification saying, hey, mom's walking is less steady, and then I can talk to her about it. You can even send that metric straight to the person, and they kind of framed it as like, and start a conversation about that person's health. But knowing that I'm going to be moving soon, I'll be moving to London, I'll be on the other side of the world from my mom, and knowing that when I move, actually perfect timing, actually, I will be able to still keep track of my mom and her health, whether it be her sleeping habits because she wears her Apple Watch while she's sleeping, you know, if she fell, as well as the stuff that her doctors send to the health app will now come to me that I can access from my phone instead of having to have her phone to see it. Like, we're very transparent about what we share, so normally I can just check on her phone, but it's going to be so nice to say that I have that information with me and I can also monitor her, so that way she doesn't have to update me on everything. I can just be updated, and maybe I can update her on some things that she missed. So for people with kids and for people with older parents, I feel like the family health sharing is going to be really, really cool, and I'm really excited to use it. And that is the type of feature that makes me love Apple. Oh, I'm getting emotional about it. Stop it. This is a tech review. I don't get to cry in a tech review or tech recap, whatever it is. But that's such a different thing. It's not just about technology and the cool way that AI works to put a chair 3D in your room. This is so different. This connects to people, and this has real life impact. So yeah, keep an eye out. If you're somebody who wants to keep track of other people's health in your family, you guys can share that data that way. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about it. Also, I'm interested to see how clumsy I am. Is it going to tell me? That's the next update that they have to come out with. The next research study. I'll definitely be a part of it. Okay, I know you didn't expect for like a heartfelt section of a WWDC recap video, but like there it was. But moving on into some more like interesting things that are kind of touching on everything. We've got iCloud Plus, which is just iCloud if you're subscribed to the subscription service for your storage. So prices have not changed. It's still, you buy the 99-cent storage for 50 gigabytes or whatever, and now you have iCloud Plus rather than just being like, I have iCloud, because there was sort of a, everybody has iCloud, but do you have extra iCloud storage that you pay for? So I like the differentiating feature. I like how the title makes it something that is different. Words are definitely not hard in this household. Totally not. So with iCloud Plus, you are now getting more features. So it's more than just storage that you're paying for. So you are getting, they call it iCloud Private Relay, which I'm gonna read this to you and you tell me or not if it's a VPN. Because I think it's a VPN. They didn't really talk about it a lot, but I think it's a VPN. iCloud Private Relay is a service that lets you, oh, hold on, I'm gonna do my best like radio voice. Okay. iCloud Private Relay is a service that lets you connect virtually to any network and browse with Safari in an even more secure and private way. It ensures that the traffic leaving your device is encrypted and uses 2 separate internet relays so no one can use your IP address, location, and browsing activity to create a detailed profile about you. I feel like that was good. That was good. That was audiobook level. That was good. So that's a VPN, right? That's just a VPN. Literally the only thing on the website is like that description, and then they keep everything else secret. And honestly, I'm kind of excited about this because I already pay for iCloud and I was gonna get a VPN so that way when I'm in London, I can still access things in America and vice versa. So let's hope it's a VPN so I don't have to pay extra for a VPN service. But very ambiguous, I feel like. Another thing you get with iCloud Plus is the hide my email feature, service, I don't know. So if you make an account with an app that says you can sign up with like Facebook or Apple or Twitter or whatever, and you choose the Apple option, you can choose a feature that says hide my email. So it like creates a random scribble of letters that then forwards your stuff to that email address. But with this hide my email, they're calling it? Yeah, with it, this hide my email with iCloud Plus thing is you can create random email addresses. So like cupcake7527h at iCloud.com, and then use that as the email for your Facebook account. And then they would then email that they relay back to you. Then you can delete that email address at any time. So pretty much it seems as though the world in the hellscape that is spam emails might be lessened with this feature. It would really be like, I'm signing up for an email list to get coupons, or I'm signing up for an email list for this event I'm a part of. But then as soon as your event is over, or you don't care about the place that you're getting coupons from anymore, you want to unsubscribe from their email list. And also, who knows who they're selling your information to? So instead of having to go and like try to get your information recovered from them, you can just delete the email address and then stop getting the spam emails, which I hope it's going to do what they think it's going to do, because my email is over inundated with spam emails. So we'll see what the future holds. And then last things that are like general before we move into the finale of macOS Monterey, we have some updates with iCloud and Apple ID, which is 2 sides of a sharing your information with people coin. One is saying, hey, I'm currently in this world. That sounds so dark. I'm here and I need to reset my Apple ID password and I don't have access to my phone and I don't have access to any of my secure devices and my stuff is locked out. What do I do? Well, now you can add a secure contact onto your Apple ID. So pretty much like, you know, when you get the text thing for the 2-factor of like, okay, you need to unlock your account and sign in with a text, but maybe your phone is lost or something and you're trying to access iCloud.com or sign in on a new phone, like whatever it may be, you can send the code to a family member or a trusted contact, and then you can call them, it'll let you call them, and then get the code from them and enter that in. I think that's really cool because there are people who, they say they'll remember their 2-factor authentication security passwords and they have all these devices that work, but sometimes you're just in a pickle and it would be nice to call somebody to help you get out of that pickle. And then secondly, when we are no longer with this earth, when we are no longer Earthside, when you pass away, there is a new feature coming out called Digital Legacy, which is where you can add, like, once again, secure contacts to have access to everything within your iCloud account once you pass away. Obviously, it's not a fun thing to talk about when you're like, oh yeah, when I'm gone, who's going to be dealing with my crap? But it's kind of having a little bit of a digital will situation, because you don't have to worry about putting the passwords in the right spot or making sure that the security answers are written down. It's nice to kind of have that stuff squared away. So if you do leave your family sooner than you might expect, whatever reason it might be, at least your family is going to be able to get a hold of important information to them, whether it be photos or contacts or passwords for your bank that they have to settle your estate of. Digital Legacy is a really cool thing that, once again, it's Apple thinking about the human experience and the human side of the technology, which is something I really appreciate. Okay, so there's all the things. Wow, here we are talking about all things, talking about feelings and technology. What? The human experience and technology, those things combined? There is a crossover? Who would thunk it? But before we get to the end of this video, of course, we have to talk about macOS Monterey, which gosh, I'm so excited for these backgrounds. Holy freaking cannoli. Just the beautiful purpley blue, the pink, and then the water. Oh my gosh. Imagine I loved in macOS Mavericks or OS 10 Mavericks, whatever you want to call it. It was like the cool wave, and I love water and then the ocean and all those things. So I think the backgrounds are going to be or the wallpapers are going to be so cool. Really excited about that. But that's just a silly thing. One thing I'm freaking excited for is low power mode coming to Mac, which I feel like was a long time coming. We've had low power mode on our like iOS devices, and I don't think it's on the iPad. Yeah, that's one thing that does make me annoyed. It's also not on the iPad, which I feel like is a shame. It should be on the iPad, but they're bringing it to the Mac, so maybe that means they're going to bring it to the iPad and they just kind of like didn't say anything about it. But I think that's going to be cool. Low power mode is going to come in very handy for a lot of college students. I'm calling it now. People are going to be blessed in low power mode in the future. Now, speaking of Safari, there's this new thing called tab groups, which it looks cool, and in concept, I am into it. In practice, however, we shall see. Pretty much what tab groups are is saying that you can have a set of tabs that will always, it's kind of like bookmarks, except imagine it like, okay, imagine having a bookmarks folder, but then when you click on the bookmarks folder, it opens every web page within that folder in its own tab. That is what tab groups are. So I can click on a tab group that says like research for this one video. I click on that and then it opens all of those tabs. So I feel like this is going to be a cool thing for people who do a lot of research, being able to say that all of my bookmarks are just going to open automatically without me having to click on each link, start new tab, whatever. And then you can like come back to it. You don't have to worry about closing those tabs. Like just leave them there, create a tab group, and then move on to another one. It's interesting. We'll see. We'll see. And then the last two things are actually pretty exciting. So one is universal control, which makes it to where you could have a Mac, an iMac, and an iPad, and they could all use the same mouse and the same keyboard. And it almost is like an extended desktop, except not. I wonder how that works. But you don't have to have multiple keyboards and stuff. The more I can do to make my workspace clearer, I am happy with. So I'm very excited for universal control and see what else they come up with when it comes to universal control. And then the last thing that I didn't realize I wanted, but they're bringing shortcuts to macOS Monterey, which if you have not used the shortcuts app yet on the iPhone, and is it on the iPad? I believe it is. But if you haven't used shortcuts on those devices, I definitely recommend, but it's a way to kind of create shortcuts, It like you can automate things. And there's a program on the computer called Automator, which I've heard is similar, I guess, to this whole shortcuts thing, but shortcuts is just way more intuitive. So like I have a shortcut on my phone that when my phone drops below 50% battery, it automatically turns on low power mode. You can also do things that when you say a certain phrase, it then has a series of actions that happen. So I used to have one that said, take me home, and then it would text my mom that I was on my way home. It would set up directions from where I was at to my apartment. It would open my Maps app, and then it would also like play my favorite podcast, the latest episode or something like that. You can do tons of cool stuff with shortcuts. So I'm interested to see how it would transfer over to the Mac, because I feel like there's a lot more that I could do with shortcuts on the Mac. So I didn't know I wanted it there, but now that it's a possibility, the gears in my head are turning. I feel like now the possibilities are broadening to a way that I didn't understand before, so I'm very interested to see what happens with that. Oh my gosh, another long one in the books. You come to the Annelies channel for the reviews and the tech talk and whatever, and you stay hopefully for the whole 30-minute long video, because it's a staple of the channel. But anyways, y'all, that is what is coming to us this fall. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like videos like these, consider subscribing to my channel. Let me know what your thoughts are about all the new features and all the new things coming out in this fall. And of course, before I go, I want to give a big thank you to all of my top tier Patreon supporters, and of course, all my Patreon supporters of past, present, and future. If you want to help support my channel monetarily in any way, please check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Annelies. The people who are on the screen right now are some of my top tier patrons, the Ethels and the Mabel tiers. So if you want to become a part of this lovely group of people, go to patreon.com/Annelies. That community is there so that way I can share things with you about the channel. You can give your input on the channel and what you want to see, as well as just doing some updates and little things here and there. But on top of it all, you're helping support me and this channel and doing the things that I love. So thank you so much to my top tier patrons, and thank you to you for considering checking out my Patreon. All right, well, that is it for me. Stay beautiful, have a marvelous day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.